Buffalo will once again come together to celebrate Juneteenth with a series of events, a parade, and much more happening all this month in the city. Joining us to tell us more is Dayatra Hassan, a member of the Juneteenth Board of Directors on the Public Relations Committee, and Patrick Cray, Chair of the Juneteenth Parade. Hey, welcome both of you. It's so good to see you.
Thank you.
We're really excited about the parade because we participated. WBBZ was there last year and with me. And it was so much fun and music. And now we get to talk about another year coming. Tell us, I think people would like to know, Dayatra, about the history of Juneteenth.
Well, the history of Juneteenth itself or the history of Juneteenth Buffalo? So I'll start with Juneteenth itself, right?
Okay.
So the history of Juneteenth as a holiday, it was first celebrated in 1865, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation came down. There were enslaved peoples in Galveston, Texas. There were other enslaved peoples in Union states as well at that time, but Juneteenth was celebrated around the liberation of those enslaved folks in Galveston, Texas. The Union Army had come down to liberate them. And it was like Juneteenth kind of comes from not really knowing exactly which day it was, right? So Juneteenth Festival, as we celebrated here in Buffalo, New York, started in 1976 with an organization called BUILD. And they wanted to bring a celebration to our city that would be for us, something that we could celebrate, especially in the light of the 4th of July celebration, right? It's the celebration of independence for our country. And at that time, our ancestors were enslaved. And so we wanted to have something that we could celebrate around our own freedom. So the BUILD organization chose Juneteenth. It was being celebrated down in Galveston, Texas. And so they brought it here in 1976 on Jefferson Avenue, and 48 years ago. And now we celebrate it in Martin Luther King Park because it has grown so much since then. And so now we're like, at least one of the top 3, I'll say, largest Juneteenths, and expansive too, because we pretty much celebrate the whole month of June.
I never knew a lot of the history, so that's really fascinating. What is something called Sankofa Days, and what does that have to do with the events that are marked?
So the Sankofa Days, Sankofa is an Ndinkra symbol, which is an African symbol of a Sankofa bird whose feet are planted forward, but his head is turned backward. And it symbolizes that it is okay for us to look into our past and into our ancestors and our history and bring forth the wisdom from our ancestors into our present day. And so one of the things that Juneteenth is committed to is educating and enriching our community. So the Sankofa Days was started approximately 15 years ago, give or take. Our good brother Jomo, we talked about a little bit earlier, right? Shout out to Jomo. And it was a series of events, and it still is. We have a flag raising event, which usually jumps it off, but this year we started early because we're already in the Sankofa Days now. But we have our flag raising on Friday, where we raise the Pan-African Liberation flag that was given to us by the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and to represent the unity of all Africans all over the world. And so we raise that flag at the Niagara Square in front of City Hall every year right before Juneteenth. And that sets off a series of events leading up to Juneteenth.
I see.
Yeah.
So Patrick, we're not ignoring you. The ladies gabbing away here. Don't think we forgot about you, okay? So, but we're getting to talk about the parade, which I know you are in charge of, and I just said we were there last year, and it was so exciting. But it was just weeks after the tragedy, and there was at Tops, and there was such a different feeling. I assume that this year we're going to expect a lot different.
Yes, quite, and thank you for Penny for inviting us in.
You're welcome.
Dayatra lays a wonderful groundwork of understanding the whole platform of which Juneteenth sits on. And then with that lays a large production of the parade. The parade is so large until it actually lasts 3 hours long. And you may wonder, well, how can we possibly sit and watch a parade for 3 hours? But in all of my research and asking the spectators, how did you feel watching this long parade? They say, it's wonderful, it's like an event. You know, all of these floats and individuals that are marching in the parade, you know, they take part in it. And with that, right now, we have registered a number of individuals, up to 125 groups. And from last year, which was the 514, the incident at Tops occurred, many of our sponsors came out to help support the effort and the community of Buffalo, New York. So with that being said, the sponsors somewhat doubled. They came into Juneteenth, they sent notices in and saying, how can we help? And we invited their help by whatever means possible that they can. It's my job to make sure that everyone has a proper placement in the parade, placing the sponsors up first, all of the corporations in, and then the individual drill teams, step teams, classic cars, floats, organizations from City Hall and around the city in Western New York, and the visitors of the city. And we have to also be specific to our theme for each year, which this year the theme is ... and still we rise. And it indicates that we're rising from all of the tragedy that occurred in Buffalo and Western New York. And our march is specifically on Genesee Street for approximately 1.25 miles from generally around Moselle and Genesee, and it marches westbound on Genesee into Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which is approximately 1.25 miles away from Moselle and Genesee.
You know, Patrick, knowing your former life as a police officer, they got the right person to be in charge of this. You don't take anything from anybody, right? You're number one, you're number whatever, right? You got this. You got this.
Well, you know, I try to be firm.
Firm
but
fair.
fair.
Right? You could have been. Yeah. Could have had my job.
That's right. Firm but fair. We have to be.
Just a little bit about what happens in the park, because it's not all the parade. There's activities in the MLK Park as well.
That's correct. Mm-hmm. Once the parade ends, first of all, let me back up. The parade begins at 10:45 a.m. on June 17th.
If you don't want to get in trouble with Patrick, be there on time.
That's right, you should.
Go ahead.
You really should.
Okay.
And the parade starts at 10:45, and then we step off somewhere around 10:45 to 10:50 from around the vicinity of Genesee and St. Louis, Genesee and Moselle area. And then if you expect that for an 11 o'clock start, we're walking and we want to be ended by 2 o'clock. That's a 3-hour parade. And typically the festivities does not begin until the parade ends. So I have to be firm on my timing with the city officials, City Hall, the media, security. All of us have to work together to make sure that all of the other committees that are working with the organization of the festivities and the parade and the youth groups and all those activities is specific timing. And if I extend past the 3 hours, I'm going to affect someone else's coordination.
And there's activities in the park,
Yes,
different
there
activities,
is.
and it goes on for a while, right, Dayatra?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So we
Not
have
just the
lots
parade,
of
right?
activities. Beyond our concessions, of course, we have all kinds of people that come and sell their wares and just fun, interesting items. We also have activities for youth and families. So we have a lot. We have the agricultural pavilion, we have the youth activities, we have the children's activities. We have 3 stages full of music and activities there. We have the drum circle, the African drum and dance on Sunday every year. We have the health pavilion. We have the different we have the Elder Griot Village. We have, and I'm just calling this off the top of my head. But we have so much going on in the park itself, something for the young, something for the older people. The stages themselves are just dynamic. You got the jazz and kind of like old school vibes on one stage. You got the younger folks and like more local artists on another stage. And then we got the youth activities, which is a fairly new activity that we're doing this year that we really want to let everybody know and we're really excited about, is serving our youth and making sure that our young people have a good time as well.
Absolutely. And I just want to, before we run out of time, ask you about the Buy a Brick, because the building was damaged where you were, and I know you have a campaign.
Yes.
And you wanted to tell
Yes,
our
we do have a
viewers.
campaign on our website. You can go to our website and you will see the Buy a Brick. You could just click the link and make your donation. We're, saving our money. We have some fun things that we want to do with our building, because since this happened, it actually opened the door for us to actually make some of the improvements that our building needed in general. So it's pretty exciting once that work starts.
And I know there's a website that people can find out more
Yes.
information, although between the two of you, I think we've been lucky enough to tell everybody everything, but still, they might
Well,
want
we
more.
still got details about the schedule.
right, okay.
So go to our website, www.buffalojuneteenth.com. We have merchandise. We have extensive schedules and flyers that show you everything that's going on everywhere. So,
Terrific.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dayatra Hassan, a member of the Juneteenth, the Board of Directors on the Public Relations Committee, and Patrick Cray, Chair of the Juneteenth Parade. Thank you so much